Welcome, race fans, to another exciting evening of Sunday Night Skippy Racing action. We are joining you live about 8 minutes into the race here for Skippy Formula 2 at Tsukuba. Circuit, the 2K full configuration, 1.29 miles. Let's get straight into the action here with our broadcast partner, Peter Lee. Peter, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, and I've been watching the action in the first 8 minutes. It's been pretty wild on track.
I am looking through the event log here, and I'm seeing a lot of red, meaning incidents. So
Yeah.
I don't know how realistic it is for you to give us like a quick rundown, but
Yeah, well, I did take some notes.
Okay, good.
Jake. So our starting order. Their top three were Jake Ashe, Thomas Photos, and Alex Othon. And Alex being a newcomer, so pretty impressive to see him in the top three qualifying. But right off the bat in lap one, when you think of Tsukuba, it's hairpin city. Three hairpins, and they've been causing no end of headaches for these guys. On lap one, Tyler Antle in his first SF2 race spun in the turn 4 hairpin. Then on lap 2, Barry Stockdale just tapped a little bit into Daniel Pogowski and spun off. And Jake Ashe went off track and spun in turn 5. And then lap 3, Thomas Photos spun out of turn 5. And then finally, Alex Othon had a wild moment. He was running P2 on lap 6. And fell back to T8, and so and it looks like Rich Butler has just spun off on the exit of the turn 1 hairpin. So these hairpins have just been causing no end of headaches for these drivers, and it'll be interesting. This could be a race where whoever can keep it the cleanest is going to end up finishing in a good position.
Well, certainly, and there's, despite all of those off tracks and incidents, there's still some great racing. It's kind of tough to do the mental math, so let's go to interval instead of gap there. You can see there's still pretty tightly packed groups here with Kyle McCormick all the way through Alex Othon in 4th position. A little further back, Thomas Photos, who I believe was one of the first people involved in an incident in that Colorado paint scheme you posted earlier, which I'm a big fan of.
Awesome.
He's leading, Rob Chestnut, Jake Ashe, Rusty Ponnenberg, and I think further back here, we've got Tyler Antle, Dan Pogowski in a race for P9. And then Barry Stockdale a little bit behind him. Looks like Rich Butler spending a bunch of time on pit road. I don't know if he had burned through a fast repair already or not, or if he got a penalty or something like that. But he jumped to the pits. That's what it was. Okay, so I saw him come back on track, but he did take a tow, which is causing that long pit stop there. And I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and manually delete myself off the timing tower there. Nope, can't do that. Won't let me do that. Okay, well, just ignore my name then. I joined the session incorrectly. So there we go. Kyle McCormick leading the way right here, but not by much. He has a ton of company, and these guys are keeping it close. We'll note that we joined the race pretty late here, so 12 minutes in. This is going to be correct me if I'm wrong, still 2 pit stops always for SF2, yeah?
That's right. And in fact, the pit window is probably just opening.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. If Jake Ashe is true to form, we should see him probably coming in soon, although he's in a pitched battle with Rob Chestnut right now for P6.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jake surprised, I think, I don't know about you, but certainly me. We ran a recruitment race for the GT3 GTE League, and look at this, I don't know, go too wide here.
This right-hand sweeper does take a little bit of command. Oh, Rob Chestnut loses it and gets sideways. Looks like he didn't damage the car, but that's being taken offline a little bit, off the racing line by Jake, who had grabbed the inside position, and Rob just ran out of grip.
Real quick before I forget, I will say that Pim left me with a really fantastic camera pack and I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it justice. I'm just going to put it out there. There are so many cameras in here, and they are so good. And I just don't know. I don't have the wizardry with the cameras that he has. But I will definitely do my best.
He's a magician with these iRacing cameras. His drone cam is like the best thing.
It's crazy. Well, and I know he actually has a map where he can control the angle, and that is not something that I accomplished beforehand. So his drone cam with me is not the same drone cam. He just he's on another level right now. So got a lot to learn from him.
Paris, just diving into the pits, and before him, Carter Stickney taking his first pit stop. So we're seeing a couple people beat Jake Ashe into the pits for their first pit stop.
Unreal. Well, so what I was saying before, Jake did the overcut, I think, in the GTE race, from what I could tell. So
Interesting.
Very uncharacteristic, and I think it caught certainly all the SNS drivers that were participating by surprise. But he made it work to great effect, winning the GTE there. But yeah, looks like he's staying out for the time being.
Yeah, this track is this is a pretty challenging track. When you think of Japan, you think of sushi. I don't know. Now I think of Japan. I think of hairpins. And this is just this isn't that short a track. It's 2 kilometers, which is doesn't sound short, but it is so tight and technical. And it's I think. Even with these 12 cars, there's really no part of the track that isn't busy. And then when we get into the Skippy Formula 1 race, I think it's going to be just busy everywhere all the time.
Certainly. Well, we've got some comments going on out here. Obviously, some love for Pim and you. It looks like we got some BRL guys in the house.
Looks like Alex Othon took his first pit stop. Tyler Antle is just exiting after his first. Barry Stockdale's in the pits.
Bring up the pit stops there. Team Gobstoppers in the house. I assuming that is a nod there to Rusty Ponberg and the 10 Willy Wonka Gobstopper machine. Some love for Jake Ashe's livery. I want to try to get a...
Yeah.
Got a reset.
Hal McCormick has pit as the race leader, so that brings Thomas Fotos in as the current race leader. And Rob Chestnut diving into the pits. And so that just leaves Thomas Fotos, Jake Ashe, Rusty Pottenberg, and Daniel Pagowski as drivers who haven't taken their first fueling stops yet. No surprise with Daniel Pagowski. He's always one of the latest ones to take his fuel stops.
Definitely staying true to form. Let's go back to Gap here real quick so we can keep an eye on where Carter Stickney and Alan Paris are. Looks like they are the leaders of those cars who've already pit, as we see Thomas Fotos now duck in with about a 23 second lead. Jake Ashe, Rusty Ponberg, all in. So that's going to be it, except for Dan Pagowski. Once Dan comes in, that's going to be the first pit stop, pit strategy all coming into play. There he goes.
Right.
So now, once these 4 shuffle out, as you can see,
and there go Carter, Alan, Kyle, and Alex going by the pit exit, and so they're retaking the race lead. So Carter Stickney really, out of the first round of pit stops, is the big winner. Really made up most time and is taking the race lead.
you can see Alan there backing off just a little bit. He looked like he might have been going inside on turn 1, but thought better of it, backed out, and they are going to all shuffle in, and these top 4 are back together once again. You can see Alex Othon in the back there in that Golf livery. Right along board with him for just a little bit.
I was when I was watching those early laps. It's not hard to have race jitters. No matter how much you've practiced. And these hairpins are really pretty treacherous on cold tires. It looks like they're all in the groove right now, though, and so I'm guessing we won't see all those incidents again for the rest of the race.
Yeah, certainly the the radial street tires here, whatever you want to call them, on the Skippy. We've said it's one of those things. If we've said it once, we've said it 100 times. Definitely difficult to manage when cold. And this is one of those tracks that it's just going to really bite you. And I think we saw that based on the discussion, at least in the public races there, the official iRacing events that occur throughout the week in the Skip Barber. A lot of people not having a ton of luck. I think that might have something to do with it. A lot of first, second lap shenanigans going down.
Right. And, the thing about hairpins is it's a challenge for spotters, whether you're using something like Crew Chief for a spotter or a human. It's a little hard to judge when you have overlap sometimes because people take such different entry lines into these hairpins. It's pretty tough. And, on the league Discord this week, there was also a lot of discussion just about these simulated tires on the Skippy, and they just really do show these wild swings in grip based on tire temperatures, and quite a bit of discussion this week on how real is that. It's certainly an interesting element of these cars. I think it's something that everyone kind of gets attached to, but for people that have been in the real Skip Barber cars, it's something that people don't really think about in the real life versions of these cars.
Right.
That lead group with Carter Stickney, Alan Paris, Kyle McCormick, and Alex Elthon, they are really just sticking very close together. And interestingly, it looks like Jake Ashe went off again, maybe in some incident with Thomas Photos in the turn 9 sweeper. Oh, and looks like Rich Butler may have been caught up in that as well.
The events log is moving too fast for me here. Let's see. This one looks like the correct event. Jake Shade trying to get slowed down for pit road and collects Thomas Photos as his back end comes around. Unable. Oh, wow. And yeah, Rich Butler comes in hot.
Yeah, and so, that pit entry, that turn can really catch you out.
They were talking about that in the Discord earlier. I think somebody was talking about how dangerous that can be.
That'll be a really interesting stewarding issue there, because it looked like Jake kind of overcooked it there, trying to make that turn. It's surprisingly slick, and there's no camber at all in that pit entry. That grass, you put even one wheel on it, it just shoots you onto the track, just exactly like we saw.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that happened before. I was just about to call Jake Ashe's name there, and so there's no broadcast.
You can't blame it on that.
Because I was just about to say that he was turning laps faster than the lead group.
I see. Well, so I want to bring up real quick here. I'm moving it around the screen real time. I feel bad. Joe Zubovich went out of his way to create this very nice standings graphic for us, which I was supposed to have up for the transition, but got real busy right there at the end, so didn't get it set up for the stream. But here you go. This is something that Joe, he's been gracefully volunteering to update the Dan Lisa, or whatever, Sim Racer Hub now, I guess it's called, standings, and creating this nice little graphic that we'll be using throughout the season. You can see Carter Stickney currently the series leader, and Jake Ashe only 2 points behind him. Rusty Pomberg 4 points in third place. So real tight battle, actually quite a few tight battles throughout the field, so keep your eyes on all these drivers. We'll bring these up from time to time, and I really appreciate the work that Joe Zubovich puts into making the broadcasts and streams just a little bit better. So
that is awesome. It's just great to see that. The league, something that Skippy League, I think has sort of a cautious relationship with season standings. I think the league culture really just tries to get everyone to focus on one race at a time.
Yeah.
But
I mean, and I guess ultimately, at the end of the day, that's kind of the most important thing, regardless, when you just focus on one race at a time. You hear professional drivers talk about it all the time. They're like, okay, well, just the next race, we got to focus on that one and do as well as we can, and the points will take care of themselves.
Right. Looks like Alex Othan, out of that lead pack of 4, has just jumped into the pits for his second fuel stop. So that leaves Carter Stickney, Alan Paris, and Kyle McCormick in that lead pack.
Yeah, this is definitely this night right now. Carter Stickney is in the driver's seat, unintended, with Jake now a lap down, really in a position to extend that lead out here. And just got to avoid the easy mistakes and incidents. So it's getting a little racy back here for the 5th position as well. You can see Rob Chestnut, Dan Pegowski, and Tyler Antle.
Yep. It's Tyler has done a good job in recovering from that first lap spin, and he's working his way back up the running order. Back up in the lead, Carter Stickney is someone who I don't think we've talked about too much with respect to his pit stops, but I know when I was racing in SF2, he always had really good pit stops, really minimized his time there. And in fact, at Bolton Park, he beat me. He won a race there, even though I was comfortably in the lead. Yeah, I know. Because his fueling stop was just massively better than mine, and I've just noticed race after race he seems to do really well that way. And so he'll need that to maintain his lead over Alan and Kyle here.
Well, I wouldn't call it a comfortable lead, but he certainly has been leading the charge here for this front group. You can see Alan getting a real good corner entry there on him, but that corner exit's going to be kind of the make or break. And it's so tough. It's so tempting to look inside there. That's the is it the cone of death? What do they call that?
Yeah.
It looks like there's a gap, but there isn't.
Yeah. And I expect in the SF1 race there will be some tough stewarding decisions there, because exactly when overlap is established. If someone does try an inside move there, there can be some really tough moments to decide that.
Certainly. Well, Stickney Customs number 36, Skip Rubber Formula 2000, is leading the way here of Alan Paris and Kyle McCormick. Rusty Pottenberg holding 4th place very comfortably, as is, well, actually, no, I take that back. Rob Chestnut under pressure for 5th position from Dan Pegowski and Tyler Antle. Alex Othan, who actually, you know what? I'm saying actually, let's bring up the pit stops once again, because I do know that, I think I heard you talking earlier about Alex having hit a second time, so he is the first car with 2 pit stops. Keep an eye on him. 25 seconds now, the gap to Carter Stickney, and he's done. He's done with the pit stop, so we'll see how that works out.
And he's got pretty clear track, and not feeling the same pressure, and not having to battle with 2 other cars like Carter is. And so when Carter, Alan, and Kyle come into the pits, we'll want to keep a close eye on where they come out with respect to Alex.
And he's running faster laps right now, Alex is, than this lead group. So, yeah. Joe Zubovich called it there. Faster laps than the leaders. So, in a real good spot, and we'll see if he can capitalize. Looks like Kyle McCormick losing about a second here. Alan Paris trying to set up maybe an over-under.
Yeah, it's really tough. I think one of the better passing opportunities could come outbraking here or outbraking into the next turn 5 hairpin. I mean turn 8 hairpin coming around turn 5 here. This is so important. It's a little bit of an easy feeling turn, but you can lose half a second if you don't quite get the right exit there. And then the exit from this hairpin here is another one that's super important because it really determines your straight line speed at the end of this straight as you go into the sweeper.
Well, certainly, look at that, trying to break the draft there. You can see, I mean, clearly the longest straight there on the track, and getting a good run off of that turn, and using a little bit of the drive. Is on that straight? Is that straight long enough? Are they traveling fast enough to?
It's really a tough thing there. At least I think it's very hard to set up a pass there. You know, the previous sweeper, we saw the move earlier. If you can get an inside position, you sort of force the car you're trying to pass into an outside line, and you lose a little bit of camber, you lose a little bit of grip, and you know, and that gives you your best chance.
We've got this other race back here, like we mentioned, for the 5th position overall, and these guys have been keeping it real clean. Tyler Antle made his way past Dan Pagowski now for the 6th spot, and so these three have been together for quite a while. Tyler able to work up one more position though with the 12th car in his sights.
It's great to see Tyler racing so well here. He's pretty new to the league, and I think this is his first Skippy Formula 2 race. Yeah, I'm sure his nerves are jangling a little bit for the start of this, but he's really holding his own and moving up the field.
Yeah, if he's got nerves, man, he's hiding it well. Looks like good control of that car and trying to work his way up.
He has gone to the pits, and he's just coming out, and looks like he's coming out ahead of Alex Othon.
So there's Carter, and we will zoom back here to Alex.
Oh, and it looks like Dan Pagowski and
is that Rob Chestnut?
Yeah, and Rob Chestnut got into each other a little bit.
Interesting, because they were in the Tyler Sanders show. It looks like Tyler worked his way past.
Yeah, it looked like Dan Pagowski just I don't know if Rob checked up or if Dan kind of missed his break point there, but a little bit of nose-to-tail contact.
Well, either way, these guys still have a pit stop remaining regardless, and we're well within our pit window, so if there's a time to...
Alan Paris are now in the pits.
It's time to wreck. Now's the time.
Yeah, so there comes Carter Stickney coming past, and Alex Othon. And so we have a new running order there. Carter Stickney, Alan Paris, and Alex Othon are the cars that have hit it twice.
Rusty Pondberg, your current leader, still has to pit only 13 seconds ahead, so we figure he will be shuffling in there somewhere behind the leaders. Same with Dan Pagowski, who opted not to go in that time.
Barry Stockdale's in the pits for his second stop.
Evening, guys.
Well, hello.
Yeah.
Better late than never.
Exactly. Well, your name was on the marquee, so we figured you'd be showing up at some point. Wanted to be prepared.
Oh, yes. It's looking like it's a fairly good race going on tonight.
So far, so good. Well, we've got 2.5 minutes. I can do math. 2.5 minutes remaining here, and we have just 2 drivers left to make their final pit stops. That's Rusty Pondberg, Dan Pagowski. We are focused right now on your race leader, Carter Stickney, who seems to be putting a little bit of a gap between himself and Alan Paris in second place there.
Yeah, Carter has really driven flawlessly so far and seems to have done a little better with his pit stops. And so that's the first pit stop gave him the race lead outright, and then the second pit stop is he's managed to maintain that lead.
Wow. Well done to him.
Well done indeed, Rusty Pottenberg in for his final pit stop. I would imagine Dan Pegowski in front of Carter here. So this is precarious. We've talked about pit entry, although Dan Pegowski around, I guess, one more time. So
it's got to be a point of pride for Dan Pegowski to be the
right.
It looks like Rob Chestnut had a moment in the turn 8 hairpin, but it seems no worse for wear. But swapped ends and is back on his way.
I wonder if Dan is thinking that he can make it without stopping again.
Yeah, you know, Ian, I don't know in SF2 if you've tried that. I've definitely tried to do one stoppers in SF2 and never managed to be successful.
To no avail.
Yeah, it's an interesting possibility if he can keep the car rolling in front there. He's only got, what, a minute left to go, just less than.
It's something I like about the Skippy Formula 2 format is, you know, it kind of cuts it close, and because of that, it keeps pretty wide fuel windows also.
Well, this is super interesting. Look at Dan Pegowski around again.
Yes.
So this
is the white
flag lap.
He's praying that it's a white flag lap.
And Dan just pulled aside and let Carter by. I don't know if he's like sputtering. I think he's sputtering with fuel.
Oh no.
Not quite.
Yep, he is dropping back fast.
Yeah, and I'll bet he was thinking he could just make that last lap.
He was probably thinking that the last lap was the last lap, and it's not. It's one more to go.
I think we blame this one firmly on Ian.
Short by...
I called it, man. I called it. He's out of petrol.
3/4. It was a valiant effort. You know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so there you go.
Very
but
true.
Carter Stickney here is going to go around the last turn, the race leader, by a second, and he's going to take the checkered flag. Oh, I've got a finish cam here. Where is it? Somewhere. Finish. Whoa, there's Carter and Alan Paris by 0.61. So Alan made it really interesting there at the end. As you can see, all the drivers coming across. So there you go. Carter Stickney, Alan Paris, Alex Othon are going to be your podium for this evening. Carter up 5 positions, your series leader, and extending that lead just a little bit tonight.
What a fantastic race he ran. Really didn't put a wheel wrong. Just superior pit stops. Just great all around. And then newcomer Alex Othon. Impressive outing for him. His first race here. Ending up on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. Jake Ashe is going to be the last car to take Barney's checkered flag here. There you go, across the line. That will finalize the results. Let's take a look at what everybody did tonight. Congratulations to Carter Stickney once again, extending that lead. Alan Paris, Alex Othon, Kyle McCormick, Rusty Pottenberg rounds out your top 5. Then Tyler Antle, Barry Stockdale, Jake Ashe, Dan Pegowski, and Rob Chestnut will be your top 10. With Rich Butler and Thomas Photos involved in some of those earlier incidents. Thomas down 14 laps. Not the evening I'm sure he was looking for. Good news is he wasn't last because there's me. So there you go. Great racing by everybody. I mean, that was, I'm sure there's going to be some things they wish they could have taken back or could have done differently. But all in all, gutsy race by Dan Pegowski there, going for it. Some really good close racing. And I'm sure some things for the stewards to look at as well. So a little bit of everything in there for us tonight.
Well, I'm sorry I missed the beginning of that one, but I will definitely be there for the SF1 race.
Outstanding. Well, hey man, any final thoughts from you, Peter, on takeaways? Actually, well, let me ask you this: Are you staying with us? Are you racing? What's going on?
Yeah, I would normally race Skippy Formula 1, but maybe if we get some free moments during the Skippy Formula One broadcast, we can talk about why I'll be joining you in the broadcast tonight instead of racing. But really looking forward to the race. I think it'll be wild in Skippy Formula One coming up next.
Very good. Well, we are going to take a short break, not a commercial break. I don't have anything to sell you, but we will reconvene here for the Skippy Formula One race. Congrats once again to the Formula 2 drivers. Some really close racing going on. I'm sure there's going to be some frustration there. You can see some of the contacts and off tracks and stuff like that for sure. But put on a great show. These guys really handling their Skip Barber Formula 2000s pretty well. And we will see everybody back here in roughly 15. Wow, we actually got done pretty early today. So maybe about 20, 30 minutes, something like that. And we look forward to seeing about twice to 3 times the amount of skippies on the same track. It's, to Peter's point, going to be pretty dang wild. Looking forward to it. We will see you guys in a few minutes.
Later.
laps are going to be pretty.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. This is Sunday Night Skippy Formula 1 race here back at Tsukuba. We just saw a very interesting race for Skippy Formula 2. Some close calls and really good pit strategy, and we're hoping to see more of the same here on this 1.3 mile, or just shy of 1.3 mile track. Nice hot track temperatures for tonight, 112 degrees Fahrenheit. And
Chris.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at your stream, and I'm still seeing 4 minutes and 55 seconds to go on your countdown timer.
All right, well, we're live, so let's join in here on the
There you go.
race, and you might be on just a little bit of a delay. Michael Hownick currently on the pole position, although there is 4 minutes remaining in this lone qualifying here.
Yep.
Pete Mobron's out on the track, though. Let's take a look at him. Peter and Ian joining me once again here in the booth, and we've got, I guess I can't count Peter because he's in the list there, but 33 drivers on the grid here for this race, and a little smaller track. We talked about the number of hairpins and the cold tires, the hot track. I think this is going to be a recipe for some interesting racing going on tonight.
It sure is going to be fun to watch. And we've got some new folks sitting up near the top. Thomas Fodos is currently in P5, and Demir is in P9. So, yeah, this is going to be fun.
Thomas Fodos had a very unfortunate race in Skippy Formula 2. Really good to see him recover here pretty well. And hopefully he can hang on there to the fifth spot there for the grid.
Yeah, he might be driving a little angry today, and so it'll be
He's
how this goes.
lit a fire. Yeah, that's good. Whatever it takes. But we say that. You see a little further down though the likes of Chris Herrera mid-pack right now. So obviously this is far from settled, but yeah, pretty good start.
You were saying, for those that missed the Skippy Formula 2 broadcast just an hour ago, Tsukuba is a 2-kilometer track, but it has 3 hairpins. So it's a hairpin city. I don't know, how much people can appreciate just how tight that is. And I think Ian and I were just chatting about this prior to the broadcast, that it's going to be pretty interesting, with all of these cars on track, especially on the first 2 laps, maybe 3 laps, with cold tires, just to see how well all of these cars can get through these hairpins all in one piece.
Yeah, and there's also going to be a huge amount of overtaking, especially when the whole lot gets strung out. Even with a slightly smaller field than we're used to, there's going to be a lot of blue flag racing today.
Well, since you bring up blue flag, Ian, I think blue flags were something that were a big discussion for you and me this past week.
Absolutely, yeah. Technology isn't always your friend is the only thing I can say with that one, but for sure, that was at our races last weekend. And this track is even tighter than that was.
Yes. Well, in fact, I would normally be driving in Skippy Formula 1, and I think you would also. But, I think on such a tight track where there really won't be any gaps anywhere on the track by the time we get, even 2 minutes into the race. I think, Ian, you and I drove maybe amongst our best races ever last week, and yet I think we were battling for a top 20 finish, and yet we were still subjected to blue flags, and it was just hard to race hard and cope with that at the same time. And so, with this being an even tighter track, I think at least for me, I made the assessment that I'm a little bit in over my head if I tried to race here today, and so I'm very happy to join Chris and you in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, well, pretty much the same from me. I'm just going to say ditto.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really know what the reason is, but I'm happy for it, because I'll tell you what, I always appreciate having you guys here to chat and give that that perspective of the people who actually are driving the skippies around, and I think you definitely can add a lot more to it than I can hearing me babble. Speaking of babbling, let's talk about our starting grid here tonight. Michael Howanick will take the pole position, which I believe is his first. I could be wrong about that, as I usually am, but congratulations, Michael Howanick. Either way, Adam Wright will grab the outside pole. I do not believe that's his first outside pole. So either way, though, real good run for him there. And we will scroll through the remaining drivers. It looks like Thomas Photos able to maintain his fifth position there. And my newly minted fellow endurance teammates, I guess, we raced in the BMW together with Chaz Weber this weekend. Spencer Clark there in 10th position. So cheering for him, obviously.
Yeah, fantastic qualifying result for Spencer Clark and for Thomas Photos, just to see them qualifying in the top 10. Just really great. But honestly, you just look through, I don't know, the top, really the top 30, and there's just, no slow times at all. And people are really going to be tight here.
I mean, you can see already we're through position 23. Let's do one more scroll here. And yeah, you got to make your way all the way to 28th position before you even get over a second of separation here. So this is going to be a very tight field. And as you were talking about earlier, the great equalizer here is who's going to be able to be consistent and stay on the track, really, stay out of trouble.
Yeah, what we saw in Skippy Formula 2 is the first two laps, a lot of the drivers who are normally really fast and steady, had a hard time under all the race pressure to kind of keep it together, particularly on the exits of these three hairpins, which are turns 1, 4, and 8. And so we'll really want to keep a close eye as the fields get through those three hairpins on the first lap or two.
That's for sure. And I'm looking at the practice times, and even they, Chris Herrera set the fastest time in practice of 1:01.675. But again, all the way down through 20, where are we up to? Yeah, through position 20 is all within a second of that, and it's only from position 20 down that's slightly adrift, even in the practice session. So it's going to be an interesting race,
say the least. Looks like they're still going through the drivers meeting here, going over some last minute things, but remind all the viewers, Peter, we were talking about potential passing zones, and some places on the track better than others.
Right. Well, obviously there are opportunities to try to outbrake and try to stick a nose in on the inside coming into each of these three hairpins. That's turns 1, 4, and 8. But, those are really tough. Of those three hairpins, turn 8, people can get a run coming out of turn 5, which goes under the Dunlop bridge. And that, if you get enough of a run, you might be able to get some inside position coming turn 8. And then that back straight on the exit of turn 8 coming into the turn 9 sweeper. What we've been seeing is that if you can get enough of a run, establish some inside position, you can kind of force the driver in front of you onto a wider outside line, which is pretty hard to handle. And so overall, it's going to be a big challenge for passing at all points on the track.
Yep, I see the lights are up.
Yep, ready to go. We'll find out soon
we go.
enough.
Here we go, as that great huge pack of skippies comes roaring down to turn 1, all 34 of them.
And I'm on the edge of my seat just watching. Looks like they're tiptoeing around that first hairpin okay, though. Now they're coming to the second hairpin. And again, looks clean, even side by 2 wide around that second hairpin. And now finally the third turn 8 hairpin.
So far, so clean.
Yeah, it looks like a big old slinky on the track map.
That is a great way to put it.
Yeah, it can be frustrating starting in the back with the accordion effect, the concertina effect, depending on what part of the world you're from. But yeah, it's real, and it can get super frustrating not being able to kind of run your own line.
Jumped into the pit lane already.
I believe he may be serving a
stop and
penalty,
go.
yeah.
Yep. And so Jonathan Dockery as well. Yep.
Keep your eye out for those. We'll bring up the race information here for everybody, as well as the track maps and battle boxes and what have you. So let's dive right into it here. Looks like for the most part, everybody able to shuffle through single file, get those tires starting to warm up, and hopefully then knives out.
Yeah. How impressive is that?
Well, it's going to take a while. This is not an easy track to pass at, and I think what we might start to find is small gaps opening up between groups. I mean, already we can see our leader, Michael, is pulled out almost a half a second over Adam, who has Carl Dronke sucking his exhaust fumes as Thomas Fodos sets the fastest lap, and then Jonathan Dancy immediately eclipses that with a 1:02.411.
Team Bell checking in, and Scott right now running P7. You can see him leading Mike Bowers as they check out Joshua Dancy there, and looks like everybody's kind of single file. Got a Adam right here maintaining, although you can see Carl Dronke kind of poking.
Yeah, Carl's definitely trying to pressure Adam here,
yeah.
And that's probably helping Michael Howanek a bit, because Adam's having to be a little bit defensive and driving his mirrors a bit. Looks like Carl's trying to get overlapped now, and so now here, as we come into this turn 9 sweeper, that inside position really gives you an advantage, and
Something's
that ends up prime spots for passing right there.
Pete McBrawden's now in the lead. It looks like something happened to Michael. Is that right? Nope.
I'm not seeing
that.
that.
My numbers have all gone. Yes, his car is broken. It looks like he took a big smack to the side there. Look a little broken. Maybe not. It definitely looks like it's gotten hit. Wonder what happened.
Well, either way, we've got Michael McLeod in the booth with us here as well, which is going to allow me to talk even less, which I appreciate. Welcome, Michael. And what do you think about Tsukuba?
Hey, how's it going? Hope you're having a good night. Yeah, wow, Tsukuba's going to be a hell of an interesting track.
That is a understatement.
Oh, it looks like we have an incident. Max DiGiacomo and
Dimitri.
Who else is there? Yeah, Dimitri in the turn 8 hairpin.
We have
enough. Looks like Max has had to tow.
We have enough guys in the booth. Maybe I won't even have to talk.
Nobody talk. Ooh, yep. Looks like Max just got a little bit of help there around. Unfortunately, that's kind of sometimes the dangers of the nose-to-tail racing there.
Scott Bell sets the fastest lap of the race so far of a 1:02.21. So you can see those numbers are slowly climbing, being clawed down.
Wow, I'm seeing Thomas Photo. He qualified P5. Wow. Good job on him.
Right. Yeah. Great. And I don't know if you caught it, Michael, but in the Skippy Formula 2 race, Thomas was collected, no fault of his own, in a really unfortunate incident, and so he may be just driving angry right now, and that might be showing up in great qualifying, and he's keeping up a good race pace.
Yeah,
in some ways, best way to drive is angry. It really gets you going.
Scott Bell's just clawed his way up to position 6 and is challenging Thomas going into the turn 1. Sorry, going into turn 1. Two of them are battling side by side right now.
But it looks like from P1 all the way to P14, they all have a draft with each other, all the way to P14. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although we do look like we're starting to see a sort of a breakup now, where you've got the front sort of four just edging away. Pete Mabrodin is just Thomas Foddis is about a 1.9 seconds, almost 2 seconds back from Pete Mabrodin and that whole front pack. So you're starting to get this division. Maybe get about 3 or 4 packs forming now.
Yeah.
Sorry, real quick. Jake Ashe's car. Am I the only one rendering
Give a show.
his whole, not just the nose cone, the entire, what you would
the
maybe
whole front
consider
end's
the
gone.
hood
I
is
think
gone.
he's missing half. I think he's
Yeah,
missing
it
half
is.
his car.
I've never
Yeah,
seen
that's
that
odd.
in this damage model before.
Well, I'll tell you
Is
what,
that-
if we could
is
get a
that
little
his
closer
paint
view of
scheme, or
that,
is that real?
Away.
Hey, you know what? That's a rat rod.
That might be his paint scheme. If it is, that's brilliant.
Cannot. Yeah.
No, I
can
think he's
see-
lost the front of his car.
I mean, I can see his feet. You can see
Yeah.
his shoes.
Is
It's
he
a
wearing
great paint
pants?
scheme if that is.
Yeah. No, he has lost the front end of his car for some reason.
But he doesn't have any incidents to speak of. I don't know. I don't know what's going on
It
there.
looks
but-
like
oh, he and
he
Aaron
is
Long.
wearing pants. That's good.
That's yeah.
So now I'm seeing Carl Dronke is now taking the lead. So he's got a
Yep.
4-car pack here that he's playing with.
As Gurkan Demir sets the fastest lap of the race of a 1:01.838.
Let's go back and look and see how Carl took command of the lead here. Yeah, just inside on the final turn there.
Yep. And I'm sure Carl's now going to be looking to see if he can get a bit of an interval between him and the following pack and just drop them out of his draft and go on his merry way. But they are hanging on like leeches.
Yeah, that'll be really tough to do here. Pit strategies will play less of a role in this race. This is scheduled to be a 40-minute race and should require only one stop for fuel.
But I think the first lap that you can pit is lap 13, lap 14, and you can, if you do the draft correctly, you can go all the way to lap 26. So that's quite a large pit window. So let's see what these guys do with that level of pit window.
Super interesting. This section of track where they're coming, turns 2, 3, and then into the turn 4 hairpin. It's one of my favorite sections on any iRacing track, but certainly my favorite here. There's just a really great setup, and it kind of really tests your bravery on how late you want to brake in that turn 4 hairpin.
Yeah.
And I see Pete. He's just sitting in the last position of this lead pack, and I already know, I can guarantee he's just sitting there saving his fuel. He's gonna wait until after his fuel stop to start making his aggressive moves.
Yeah, it's really a good point, Michael. Pete is a master at turning draft into shorter pit stops.
Well, of course, it then brings up the question, right? So do you keep booting around in the draft as long as possible and then pit as late as possible to take as little fuel as you can? Or do you think
yes?
you'd say that's the best mode for this one?
For sure. If I was able to actually race this, yeah, I'd be sitting in the draft. Like, I would not even try and lead any pack. It's not even worth it. And then after your first pit stop is when you're going to want to be aggressive and start trying to make passes as often as possible.
Okay.
So Michael, what about if Pete is feeling fast on these guys, he can do this for 15 more minutes, 10, 15 more minutes, and then try and undercut?
If he's feeling faster, it's unlikely because Carl is leading the pack, so
Yeah.
he's going to set a pretty good pace. So what Pete's most likely looking at is the space between him and the pack behind him. So if the pack in front if the pack he's with is not fast enough where the pack behind him is now catching, he might make those moves. But from what I'm seeing here, it's pretty clear that the pack behind is staying consistently behind.
Right.
Well,
So
there.
it does look like Pete, that front group has almost now a 3-second gap to P5, led by Thomas Photos.
So that if I was in Pete's position, that's what I'd be worrying about. And it doesn't seem like he has too much to worry about. Luckily. Gotta say, that second pack though, that's quite a big pack. That's gonna be very interesting on how this all goes.
Yeah, so the second pack is Thomas Photos, Scott Bell, Joshua Dancy, Mike Bars, Gherkin Demir, and Spencer Clark. And it's P5 through P10. And yeah, they are nose to tail, all of them. And then a little bit behind them is Benjamin Harris and Charlie McCarty.
And Spencer Clark just set the fastest lap of the race of a 101.79. So he's really getting on with the show.
Wow.
Yeah. That lead pack, though, is slowly about 1/10 or 2/10 per lap. Does seem to be stretching its lead over P5. And so, to Michael's earlier point, that's got to make Pete McBrodden pretty comfortable.
Yeah, so they're definitely trusting in the Carl train right here by not pressuring him and they're just gonna basically follow him to the front.
Yeah, which then begs the question, is Thomas holding up the pack behind him, or are they just being left by that lead pack because they're that much faster?
I guess we'll probably find out the answer to that if Scott Bell is willing to push and make a pass. If he feels comfortable following the pace that Thomas is setting, and we'll see from there.
Yeah, because Adam Wright just set the fastest lap, 101.78.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Just looking a little further down the field, there's an interesting group battling for P18 involving Matt Shupka, Kyle Reed, and Jeff Torbeck. And I think, I wonder if they're trying to work together at all to try to catch up with Ray Bartnikowski, who's sitting in P17. And then there's Aaron Law and Andrew Cole behind them fighting for P21.
Looks like Ray's
Kyle is up 12 places, so he's doing very well.
Yes.
It looks like Ray's got a new paint scheme. He's like a tiger tonight.
Yeah, Ray made the paint scheme for my Formula V car. I'm going to start doing more GT3. I need to lean on him, see if I can get him to do another paint for me.
He actually made mine too, as well, actually.
It looks like Benjamin Harris has had an issue in the turn 1 hairpin. Back on his way, but looked like he had a spin.
Chris, who are you following right now?
I'm following whatever you guys are talking about. I will say, though, that Team Bell checking in and saying, Scott, we're just watching the replay there for Harris. Scott looking a little impatient on his Twitch stream. Hard to say what the strategy is there, I think, in response to what you guys were talking about there with Thomas Photos.
Yeah, it looked like Scott Bell did get past Thomas Photos, and so now Scott's leading that P5 pack.
And we'll see what he does with it. He's set a 101.78 has been his best, which is a little bit better than Photos' best, which is a 101.92. Last lap he was a few tenths up, so he might stretch that lead out just a tiny bit and see what he can do with this pack. Maybe see if he can catch up a little bit more with Pete and the pack in front. But he's now just over 3 seconds adrift from that front pack, so it's going to be a lot of work to catch up there.
It looks like Kyle McCormick has also had a spin in the T1 hairpin.
And you know what? I gotta give a shout out to every single driver who is in this race or watches this broadcast afterwards. That this has been very clean, very, very clean compared to any other week. This is absolutely amazing, and it's almost like Road Atlanta was a practice for this. This is flawless.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Maybe I wonder if there's any correlation to the fact that the three of us aren't on the track.
Yeah, it's all my fault.
I
Mine
has
too.
to stay away.
But no, honestly, congratulations to all the drivers so far. This is amazing.
Well, speaking
This
of
is
that, we're going 3 wide back here for P25. We got Chaz Weber, Dan Pagowski, and welcome back to Carrington Wilmer and the PBR number 10 machine there. Used to race with us quite frequently. Took a little break, but it looks like he's... Ooh! Dan Pagowski's going to get back into the Chaz there. And
slight bump, and hey, they're still going. This is awesome.
While we were watching that,
a little bit of nose.
yeah, Kyle Reed, I think, is one of the first takers for a fuel stop, and so he's in and out, and should, I think, be able to finish now the race.
Who's restream bot Twitch Pyth 151?
Mike Bauer sets the fastest rate pace now at 101.606.
Wow.
You know, in Michael, to that earlier discussion about that lead 4-pack and the gap to P5, currently that pack being led by Scott Bell, that gap has remained pretty steady at about 3.5 seconds, and so it does not look like Scott Bell passing Thomas Photos has changed that gap all that much. That lead pack again is just maintaining this gap to P5.
So I wonder if they can use the pit stop strategy to see if they can. And I see that Spencer Clark is in the pit lane now.
So at lap 18, so the pitting will start now all the way up to lap 25, and if someone has really fuel saves, they'll be able to make 26 laps on their full tank of fuel.
Well, Spencer Clark is in. He's back out in P18.
Like Rich Butler has just entered the pit as well. And maybe it's worth discussing this for viewers who don't know, but many drivers, myself included, use a computerized fuel calculator. I use something called JRT that helps me calculate when the pit window is open and when to fuel up. But it's imperfect because it doesn't account for things like the draft and so on. And so I know you, Michael, you do your own calculations ahead of a race, and you don't depend on a fuel calculator. Is that right?
I do it all myself, and I just watch the fuel in the tank go up, and I hit stop.
Yeah.
And it's been okay, for pretty good so far. I guess I just trust that a little more.
Well, we are seeing some good racing here in and around Charlie McCarty and others.
For anyone watching the stream live, give a shout out to who you'd like to see, and hopefully we can put them up on the stream.
Wanted to point out also another kind of tight pack being led by Peter Nodwell in P10, but followed closely by Charlie McCarty, Steve Dewar, Andy Au, JR Hoops, and Ray Bartnikowski. And we're just seeing some really good action there. And again, it's interesting just to see these clumps of drivers. So Thomas Photos is just dived into the pit lane for his fueling stop.
See where he cycles through to.
It looks like you got 31 cars still on the lead lap. This is absolutely phenomenal. Let's call Road Atlanta last week just a practice for this, because this is absolutely amazing.
It is. The Road Atlanta was tough. Ian and I were in a battle for P20, and we both got lapped, and so we did not finish on the lead lap, even though we were in the top 20 in the field of over 40 cars. And so seeing this play out like this is pretty darn impressive.
Chris, what you looking at right now?
Mike Bowers is now in the pit lane.
We got the leaders on board here. Mike Bowers in pit lane, like you said. I've got the pit stops up so people can see who has taken their first or only, I guess, pit stop of the evening and who hasn't. So we can keep track of that. This
Bowers had some damage too. He's had that fixed. So
yeah, there's a lot of nose cones missing, I gotta say. I don't know.
And Mike 100%. Bowers is heading back out now.
Carrington Wilmer is in the pit.
In about P23, just behind Spencer Clark. So Spencer's managed to leapfrog Mike in that pit stop.
And Carrington Wilmer is done with his fuel and is now exiting the pit lane.
Looks like Jake has his nose back, so I don't think that was the paint scheme. I think.
Oh yeah, he didn't want his feet showing, so I guess he had to fast repair.
They had to install a fan to keep him a little cool. Now that he.
Yeah. I see a 77.
Ram air ventilation is gone, but.
I see the 77 on the front again.
Kyle McCormick's in the pit. Back up front, that lead four drivers of Carl Dronke, Michael Howenick, Adam Wright, Pete Morbrodden, they've just remained super consistent, and they now have a 3.3 3/4 second lead over P5 and Scott Bell. And Scott is there with Joshua Dancy and Gherkin Demir.
Although Scott is pulling a little bit of a lead out over Gherkin, almost got a second on him now. If Scott can continue to pull that out, he'll soon drop Gherkin off the back of him.
Yep.
And I see that the front pack are now coming around to the first lapped car.
So that's Charles Weber in between, and that is good on Charles to follow along with that lead pack, but it's also might work against him because he's going to have to let the pack also go, which will slingshot them towards that lead pack.
Charles has just honored blue flag for Scott Bell, Joshua Dancy, and Gherkin Demir. Just right to your point, Michael.
So, it's a little bit of he's gonna work towards following that lead pack and gain some pace by that, but it's also gonna work against him by letting that pack behind him go.
For these race leaders, the fact that they're coming up against lap traffic, wouldn't that motivate them to take a pit stop?
Yes and no.
Someone's just dived into the pits. Who is that? Carl Dronke and Adam. Yep. Is it Adam right behind him? Pete.
Yep.
Well, they're going side by side through the pits. And
Gherkin Demir. Yep.
Yep. So let's keep an eye on the pit lane now to see how quickly these guys can get in and out.
Well, this pit's not very wide, is it?
No, it is not. So they're going to be there, like, bashing their steering wheels, trying to get their and they're both leaving right at the same time. It's a race for the exit, and they are side by side coming out of the pits into turn one as they go around wide.
Take my word for it, this is where Pete really starts attacking Carl for the lead. I take my word for it. He's really going to try and take that P1, because when you're on this track, it's very hard to pass. And if you can take P1 and take defensive lines, you may as well take the win.
Yeah. Well, Carl has been able to keep his car in front as Michael Howenick.
So now we see Michael Howenick, who had been in the race lead, is now in the pit lane, and so that leaves Adam Wright in P1, but still Adam has yet to pit. And so we'll want to see where Michael comes out relative to Carl Dronke and Pete Morbrodden as they come around the turn 9 sweeper.
But of course now he's going to be getting less fuel than they needed to get. So where is he going to cycle out? I don't see him on the way out yet.
There they go. Michael has come out ahead of Carl and Pete, but does not quite have the same momentum.
Well, he's trying to just keep that inside line going into that first turn. And they're too wide going around the hairpin. And he has the inside line going into the next turn, so he might get in front. Oh, he gets a little loose there.
And Pete's going to try to take advantage here coming into the turn 8.
He's got the inside on the hairpin, so he might be able to hold.
Michael will overcook coming into turn 8. And Pete has taken the position from Michael.
Yep. There's some good racing there.
And that battling between Pete and Michael is really giving Carl some free and clear gap.
So it looks like we have a few cars that actually did make it to lap 26.
Yeah. Adam Wright finished his pit stop, and now he's come out ahead of Carl Dronke. And so out of that lead group, Adam Wright seems to have gained the most advantage.
You got Joshua Dancy on lap 26, though, without a pit, I believe. You got
Joshua must be going in
fairly
soon, because he hasn't pit yet.
Andy Au has not pit
It looks to me like Joshua is heading for pit row. Yes, he is. Joshua is now in the pit lane.
Yep.
Let's see how he does. Oh, braking very hard at the last second to try and get himself down underneath the pit lane speed limit and trundling along down to his booth.
But how good on Adam Wright? You know, out of that lead pack, I think he's the pit stop winner at this point.
And Adam is now crossing the start-finish line as Dancy is heading out, and they can see him right there. And he cycles out just in front of Gherkin Demir, and ahead of Scott Bell in P5.
I gotta say, congratulations to all the brave souls willing to take on that pit entrance. Holy.
Oh boy, it is. And it's a place where you can lose a lot of time. You know, that pit entrance, that first kind of right-hander, it feels a little off camber, and it's super slick. There's no curbing. If you get some wheels on the grass, it just shoots you across the racing surface. And we saw that happen in the Skippy Formula 2 race.
Yeah. It looks like there's quite a race going on with Charlie McCarty, Andy Au, and Ray, and Kyle Reed, who loves starting in the back and making his passes. So I'm curious how this is going to turn out as well.
You know, looking a little further back down the field, we have Jake Ashe and Dmitry Koroblev battling for P24, really nose to tail, and then Carrington Wilmer, Dan Pagowski, and Rusty Pottenberg just all over each other, battling for P26.
And Steve Dewar is right behind Peter Nodwell, just ahead of JR Hoops. And another pack that's formed behind him.
Let's call out every car on the field and just confuse Chris.
I'm trying, guys. We got contact.
Oh shit, replay. Oh shit.
Yeah,
Oh.
As Max Guacamo is now... Did somebody pit? He's just pushed himself up into P20.
Yeah, he's slowly making his way back up from that early race incident.
Yep. Chris Herrera's in P19.
It does look like Joshua Dancy in P5 is slowly making some headway to that lead pack of 4. Now about 2.7 seconds behind.
As Carl managed to get past Adam.
Yes. And Carl looks
Some
like a man.
Smooth maneuvering there. Sorry, Ray Bartnikowski was going to battle there and was able to avoid disaster. Makes it past, but Kyle Reed sneaks on by. So we'll see if the Tiger paint scheme adds a couple horsepower here and try to hunt down the number 888 of Kyle Reed.
Yeah. And you were just showing Carrington Wilmer having a off-track moment, and Andy Au, a separate part of the track, was having a similar moment, but no worse for wear and back on track. So Chris, when you do these broadcasts by yourself, how the heck do you ever keep track of all this action?
I clearly I don't. I mean, you've seen them, right? They're terrible. I'm so happy to have you guys here. It is definitely a load off. It's I guess it's a double-edged sword because everybody's seeing something different because there's always something happening. So you just gotta kind of roll the flow here, and I'm just glad that we get your guys' perspective as people who are actually driving these cars on a regular basis, and doing a fantastic job so far, I'd say. Sorry. I'm trying to talk and look through the field at the same time here. To your point there, Peter. This lead pack, man, holy cow. Just look at how close these guys are driving. I can't even take my eyes off of it. These guys are just really testing the netcode gods here with how close they're willing to get to one another, but doing it skillfully and successfully so far.
And Pete Rodden sets an even faster time of a 101.488.
So I gotta point this out because it's very notable thing for this race is it's a very fine line between a 38 lap race and a 39 lap race, and it all depends on just 5-10 seconds and the lead pack. So it's going to be very interesting on who was trying to fuel their car for 38 laps and who was trying to fuel it for 39.
That's such a good point, Michael, and we've seen that happen, where if that lead pack, crosses start-finish line, just a second too early, we end up with some cars that, looks like we have a turn one hairpin incident involving, Ray Bartnikowski and Thomas Fotos?
And Mike Bowers.
Mike Bowers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks like it's going to be a little netcode issue.
Yeah, speaking of the netcode gods, look at that. The broadcaster curse strikes again.
It wasn't me, thank you. Oh, man.
Meanwhile, back in that battle between Joshua Dancy and Gherkin Demir for P5, Gherkin has gotten past Joshua Dancy. But, that battling is losing them time to that lead pack of 4.
So what's your guys' bet? 38 laps or 39?
I'm looking at 39 laps. I think this lead pack, they're turning really fast laps here, and they're keeping the pressure up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 39. They're all running in the 101s. In fact, everybody all the way back to Jake Ashe have hit 130 101s. In fact, Andy Yu just did a 101. So either the track is cooling, or the fuel loads coming off are letting it get a little quicker.
Yeah, I can definitely see 39 laps. I'm hoping, for everyone's sake, that they fueled for 39. So let's see how this last lap goes.
Let's bring up the pit, not the pit lane time, but the amount of time that they spent actually in their pit box there, so you can get a sense of how long they were fueling for. Because as anybody who's new will maybe not know, and anybody who has been watching will remember, these guys don't change tires, or at least not purposefully. So this is going to be just how long they sat there and took fuel for. That's up on your timing tower now, and you can make some, draw your own conclusions there. You can see some faster times, maybe some slower times.
While you're looking at those pit lane times, Andrew Cole had an accident in the turn 8 hairpin and is being towed now to the pits.
And that whole top pack were all 29, 28 seconds. Scott Bell was what, 31?
Right.
I'm always amazed at how close these top pack leader guys are willing to follow each other into a braking zone and out of a corner. It really blows my mind, that level of trust that they have with each other.
Yeah. It's a really special thing about this league because, we race with each other week in, week out, and you really do develop that trust, and you also get an understanding of the tendencies and habits of all these drivers, and so it really shows up with this incredibly tight racing.
Yeah. And luckily for us, the skippies don't care about heat too much, so you don't get your car overheating by really closely following someone. As this almost too wide going there into turn 1.
Yeah, on the viewer side, we're very lucky. We don't get the aero wash that other cars get.
I'd say Adam Wright, oh, he almost lost it there coming out of that first chicane. But he is trying to push up on the back of Carl Dronke. He knows that the laps are ticking away, and he is not going to have very many opportunities to get past Carl at all, as he once again catches right up to the back of his gearbox.
Here's what you following there.
What was that?
Where are you following there?
Yeah, we got the leaders following what you guys are talking about. I was just gonna say though, this is the difference here. I've made no secret that I come from an ovalish background. I enjoy the GT racing now. Rubbin's racing, and you really can't do that in the Skippy, as we've seen nose cones disappear, or in Jake's case, entire hoods. But that in other circumstances, other cars, you might just use the chrome horn there and move a guy. But you can see these guys just continue to find each other. So no matter what order they're in for the moment, they all have very similar pace, and they're all going to be right there at the end. It just depends, because now we've got a minute and a half remaining. When do you make that desperate move? These are all very fast drivers. They all have a lot of respect for each other, to what you guys were saying. But at the end of the day, you got to go for the win at some point, right? Maybe. I don't know.
I think Adam is really pushing at Carl to try and see if he can find a way by him. If you watch where he's putting his car on all of these corners, he's trying to get on the inside line. Right there in turn 1, he's trying to get on the inside line to see if he can find a way of getting a wheel up there next to Carl's car to give him the opportunity to contest for the corner, but just not quite able to hold on to the car as it gets shoved wide, because these tires really don't like to hold on to this road very much.
Hey, I was watching the race leaders cross the start-finish line on that lap, and I think they did cross it in time to force a 39th lap at this race.
So this is not the white flag lap?
I don't believe so.
All right, so we've got, obviously this is coming around the final turn here to take the white flag. These are relatively short laps, but yeah, this is it. You got to balance league mentality, you got to balance respect, you got to balance all that stuff, but this could be, this is it.
Yeah, one more lap.
So this is, let's see what the lead pack does in every one of them. How desperate do they want it? How patient are they?
Well, the patience is over now. Either you get it now or you don't get it at all.
Bring up the intervals here too. There's a lot of great racing happening. Obviously, we've been focused on the leaders, which is something we don't always like to do, but There's great racing happening up here. There's great racing happening for a lot of positions throughout the field. So keep your eye there on the timing tower throughout. We'll do our best to click down through as we cross the start-finish line here.
Does look like further back, Mike Bowers had an issue in the turn 4 hairpin, but let's stay focused.
Yeah, this is gonna be it. This is it.
Oh, go for a replay on that later.
Oh man, what a great finish there!
Oh wow! Oh, and there's the
Off track.
and the traditional finish.
Peter Nodwell and Spencer Clark in a great battle there. Here's Tyler Reed leading JR Hoops and Chris Herrera to the start-finish line, and they're barely going to make it there. Thomas Fotos with Jeff Torbeck, Aaron Lara, Ray Bartnikowski, Benjamin Harris over Matt Shepka, and a little further back here, Mike Bowers not quite making it to the end, man. He has had a race.
He's trying. He's trying.
Yeah. All these guys having passed the start-finish line. I don't think that there's... let's see. Yep. I think we're pretty much done there. That was an action-packed finish. We may... Hopefully we get some people in the interview booth to recap there what all transpired at the end. But you could see just so many great battles happening at the end. Holy cow, let's look real quick here. I just want to see, before we bring up the results, what happened to Mike Bowers. Oh, right at the end, just collected a... There's Ray, there, yeah, oh boy. And I think that's ultimately what ended up happening. Mike just kind of trying to limp it home. Oh, missing a wheel. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate event, really.
Yep. All right. Well, so I'm sure this will be fine. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of happy people here. But at the end of the day, some great racing that happened, at least from our perspective. Congratulations, lost in all of this. Carl Dronke with the victory. Adam Wright in a very nice. Started from P2, finished P2. Great race for him. Had the lead at some points. Unable to hold on to it ultimately, but yeah, I can't imagine being frustrated with that finish there. Pimo Braun will finish out your podium. Michael Howenick started on the pole and just had a lot of good competition, but still 4th place overall. Fantastic. Gurkin Demir up 4 spots. Joshua Dancy, Scott Bell, Peter Nodwell, Spencer Clark, and Steve Dewar up 2 spots. He's going to finish out your top 10. Great finish there for Steve. And we'll roll through the rest while we wait for some potential interviewees. If you guys want to go check that out.
And I gotta give it just a shout out to top 3, all the podium, and everyone that finished on the lead lap. And I just also gotta say, like, hey, I got dip before the interviews because I gotta go to sleep. I wake up at 5 a.m. So
oh, there you go. That's right. You did mention that. I do apologize. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us and giving the insight and the call-in, man. Really appreciate it. Get some good sleep.
Later, man.
Thanks for having me, and have fun with the interviews, guys. See you later.
Will do. See you around. All right. Tell you what, fellas, I'll let you. I'm going to bring in Jonathan Dockery and Adam Wright here for the moment, and I'll let you lead the discussion.
Hey, Jonathan, how's it going, mate?
What up? It went
I can barely hear you. I don't know. Can we turn him up a little bit?
that better?
A little bit, yeah. So congratulations, that was a good race for you.
Yeah, I don't know about a good race, but I cleared my penalty, so that was a good thing. I think I climbed, 10 spots? So some were through passes, some were through people wrecking. I think I gained a few when people pitted. Wasn't bad.
Well,
Was really
good stuff.
happy with practice. Well, so I knew coming in I had to go through the pit. So I talked with Carl and he was like, "What's the plan?" And I told him I was like, "Same as every race and pub I've done this season. I'm just going to ride around and not really race anybody and not qualify and clear my penalty." I was like, "Well, sounds like a good plan to me. Get it cleared." Took care of that. So I did race Daniel Pagowski the last 3 laps because I caught him and I was like, "Well, just as well try." It was fun. It was clean. So picked up a spot there, but I don't know. Overall, it was okay. I think in the practice, in the warm up practice, I was in the top 8. So definitely getting there.
That's good.
Hey, Jonathan, this is Peter. I just like to give you a big kudos for doing that. I mean, because I have a drive-through penalty coming pending also, and I decided I didn't want to do that at this sort of short, tight track. And I think it takes a lot of gumption and a lot of heart to do that. So kudos to you.
Right. I thought, yeah, I'm kind of shocked because I thought the website said like 7 of us had drive-through penalties coming, and then it was like me and Chris. And looking at it, I probably should have qualified and I'd have finished better, but I've got no shot at a top 10 in points this season anyway, so it didn't really matter. I just wanted to clear my penalty, and I've never been on the Red Bull Ring, so I downloaded it last night, but I haven't seen it. But I knew going in there that um, I wanted to shot at trying to race maybe. So my current goal is just to get through to Imola. Go to Imola. That's when I'm gonna put it all together and I'm going to try to race. Like I raced a lot of pubs with like R. Scott Bell, Mike Bowers, and them. They're like, "Why are you not trying to win? You're hella fast." My I rating right now is my focus, not winning races at Imola. We'll shift focus and we'll see what we can do with the car. So,
Well,
but thanks
Jonathan,
for
I've
all
been
you work.
watching you race ever since I joined this league, and I think, and I've been on Red Bull Ring, and I think it's a track that, just from what I know about you, is really going to suit how you like to drive. I think you're going to love it.
Maybe, like I said, I haven't seen it like. So I'm okay at Road America. It's one of those tracks that I don't love it, don't hate it. Um, Imola, I know is on the schedule, and everybody knows I love Watkins Glen, and Imola kind of favors that for me. It's wide, it's fast, can run too wide. Um, it's technical in spots, it's drafty in spots, and so we'll see. But I'm happy with where I'm at so far this season. SNS, if it wasn't for the last 2 weeks with Edwin and then, God, I can't remember the guy's name from last week, but we hit and then we hit it again, and I didn't stand on the brake, so it costed me a pass through, and I'm okay with that. But if not for those 2 weeks, I think I'm sitting top 13. So
Yeah,
plain much.
yeah, you've been having a great season. Any shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, Phil Arcanian for painting my car. Carl Drunky and Steve Durr for working with me this season and helping me change focus and getting where I'm at. All of you guys in the booth for all that you do. And a huge shout out to the SF2 group because they continue to impress and improve. And congrats again to Carl for winning tonight.
Awesome.
And I'll slide out of here and let y'all get busy because I think you got 3 or 4 waiting up there.
Yeah, great drive. Well,
okay, guys.
hey, Ian, how about if I bring in Adam Wright now, our P2 finisher?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Adam, how you doing, mate?
Doing pretty well. How are you guys?
That was we're good. We're very relaxed and not sweating at all, and we've not been on the edge of a seat at all night.
My shirt might be a little damp after that, but it was a good race. Really tough to overtake, but I think that top group we had a good time playing chase the leader.
You did. I saw you trying to get a couple of wheels in there on the last couple of laps to see if you could edge Carl out of his P1 position, but he was just not giving you the time of day at all.
Yeah, I think with just how this, if I wanted to have a better chance of overtaking, I would have had to kind of drop back a little bit and then get a good run. And with Pete and Mike right behind me, there's no chance to do that without losing position. So it was just like the straights just were a little too short. And couldn't get a good run out of the corners to get an overpass done, or at least get one done cleanly. I got to force something, but that's not what we want to do.
Gotcha. Well, gotcha. Well, it was a great race to watch. I must admit, you guys were certainly very nose to tail for most of that run.
Yeah, I think it was an unspoken agreement that we were just going to try and keep it clear and not battle early, and because if you get caught up in traffic, then the gloves come off and then it gets messy. I think everyone was kind of in the same mindset of let's get to the last handful of laps and then we can duke it out a little bit.
Hey Adam, this is Peter Lee, and it was just incredible just to watch the four of you. And one of the words that Chris, Ian, Michael, and I all kind of came to at the same time was just trust. I mean, the level of trust that the four of you have with each other was pretty incredible. I mean, were there any moments when you thought, maybe you needed to kind of, break out, try to break out of that pack, or was it, was it really just, the game plan all the way through the race?
I think it was at least my game plan. Once I knew, I mean, you're not going to break away. Those guys are too fast. So just staying in line, fuel saving. My pitch strategy worked out. My plan was to try and see if I could stay out as long as possible, lead one lap so I can get a bonus point for that, and then fuel save a little bit. So I came back out in front, but made a couple of small mistakes that Carl capitalized on, which kind of expected him to, but I think overall I'm happy with P2. It's the first podium that I've gotten, so best result.
Very good race, mate. Very, very good race.
Thank you.
Hey, Adam, one thing I've been meaning to ask you is, one of the things that is so impressive about you is you're so fast, not just in Skippy, but in lots of different cars. And, there's always a question, is it better to try to specialize in one car and really focus on that, or kind of spread yourself around to different cars? And you seem to be someone who just seems to be able to jump into almost any vehicle on iRacing and go fast. Do you have thoughts about that? What kind of advice would you give to someone like me or to Ian?
I think trying out different cars and different disciplines can definitely help. There's little things that you'll pick up from other series, like Dirt Road. I think really teaches you how to maintain momentum of a car because you're on dirt and you're sideways. So that's just like a very exaggerated form of the slipping and sliding that you do in Skippy. I think it's helpful. I mean, it is expensive. You want to try and run those other series past the rookie level because you have to buy more tracks and cars.
Right.
But I think there's definitely overlap and something to be gained from doing them. But
I'm sorry. I'm going to chime in here. I'm super jealous because I fancy myself a jack of all trades, master of none. Adam is the same, only he's like a master of all trades, jack of none. I don't know how he does it, but it's really awesome / frustrating, especially when we were doing our winter challenge. Man, it was yeah. No, it's good.
I think his real advice to us is stay in the booth.
Exactly.
Do whatever makes you happy. I like driving everything, so I drive everything, and it just so happens that it might make me faster.
There you go.
The jury's still out on that.
All right, I'm checking out. I just had to say that.
Very good.
You can always count on Chris to jump in and get Adam say something that sort of puts us down, Ian. We can always count on Chris for that.
Thanks, Chris.
Adam, any shout outs?
No, just shout out to you guys. Thanks for the broadcast. Shout out to all the guys I was running with tonight, keeping it clean, keeping it fun. See you guys on track next week.
Awesome.
Good.
And so why don't we bring in the SF2 race winner tonight, Carter Stickney.
Hey, Carter. Oh, there we go. Hey, Carter, how you doing, mate?
Oh, is this Ian?
Yeah, it's Ian here.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad. You're a little quiet there. Can we get you turned up a tad? Let's see. We can make you a little louder. So you say, can we hear you now?
How's it now, Ian?
Oh, that's better. That's better. So, congratulations on your SF2 win.
Thank you very much. I think I might have stolen it because some folks didn't show up, and especially I think I might have stolen it from Jake because he's got so much pace lately.
Yeah, you look like you just made it cruising, so that's awesome. And you had a good run in the SF1 race.
Oh, I didn't join SF1.
Yeah, Carter, this is Peter. Just a great drive in SF2. As far as I could tell, you didn't put a single wheel wrong the entire race, and you're just super consistent. And then your pit stops, were faster than the other leaders. And so I think I was remarking. I remember when I was in SF2 with you, it just I was always perplexed at how much faster your pit stops were than mine. Pretty much every single race. So what's your secret?
Well, I used to dislike this track, and I think this season, especially this week, I watched Johnny's tutorials on a VRS, and I guess it just really clicked for me. So in this race, I just hit my marks and stayed calm and put the win together. As far as the pitting goes, I am full manual mode. I sit down at my kitchen table before the race and put it all on paper, and I actually fill manually also. So there's the big secret, right?
Well, that's a few people have said they're doing that now. So it's interesting that's turning out to be such a successful methodology.
Yeah, I would use one of those tools, but as an engineer, I like to really know what's going on in the background. So I'm considering putting my own program together. But for right now, this is working for me pretty well. I fill manually, and I probably filled a half a second too much tonight, but that's pretty much it.
Right. Well, you did. It did look like. I mean, I only caught the end of the SF2 race, so but from what I saw, I mean, it looks like you were just cruising around, completely relaxed.
Yeah, that's about it. Putting my marks together and making it happen.
Well, congratulations. Anyway, that was a great win there.
Yeah, it was really, really impressive, Carter. And it's been fun also battling with you in Formula V. And so that's, do you think racing Formula V has been helping you with Skippy?
Absolutely. As you know, when you get into the V, you're not going to be able to get away from the pack. You can't you can barely get out of your own way. So you're forced to learn some racecraft when you go V racing, and I think it's been really helpful.
Hey, Carter, I'm going to chime in one more time. I told these guys I'd let them interview, but Lime Rock Park, I'm just wondering how the first heat went for you on the Formula V.
I'm trying to recall that race.
Did somebody pass you?
There was someone who was following me a lot, maybe trying to save fuel, but it wasn't a fuel race, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure this guy didn't want to catch up with the leaders either, I don't think.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. Yeah. Just,
yeah.
That was a ton of fun, by the way.
Where did that come from? Wasn't that race like ages ago?
No.
History now.
It's memorable because Smurl was in there with us.
I had a fantastic time racing with you guys in the Formula V. So that's my plug. Really, is if you guys are sleeping on the Formula V, shame on you. It's a great series. The slower cars, a lot of the time they produce the better racing, and I had a blast. I got to go out there for Lime Rock Park. I didn't make it last week, but hopefully can join you guys again in the future. But yeah, Carter and I just were together there for quite a few laps, trading places, had a great race together, and I just had a blast. So I just want to say thanks for that.
This track coming up at Charlotte is going to be way different. It's
a little different,
not
right?
It's going to be a draft fest. Yeah, it'll be pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, and, I think to the earlier point, Carter, I feel like my Skippy racecraft has improved because of Formula V also. And, it does seemed to prove out the idea that the Formula V would be a great rookie feeder into Skippy. So we might see even more and more great Skippy drivers coming out of the rookie ranks because of this. And I've definitely gotten very, very close looks for very long periods of time at your Formula V gearbox. So just like you showed your gearbox to everyone in the SF2 race tonight. So congrats again.
Thanks, Peter.
Any shout outs?
I'd like to thank Mike Bowers for helping me out a lot as a driving coach. He's a terrific, smart, nice guy. He really knows his stuff. So thanks to him very much. And also thanks to Ian and Jake for keeping the SF2 program running.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, congrats again, and you're at the top of the season standings in SF2, so keep it up. We'll be watching you closely.
All right. Good night, fellas.
Yep.
Good night, man.
So, Ian, I can bring in our P11 finisher, Kyle Reed, now.
Go for it. Hey, Kyle, how you doing, mate? Kyle, can you hear us?
And while we're doing that, let me also bring in Thomas Fotos.
All right, we'll put Kyle back to have a little rest while we speak to Thomas. Hey, Thomas, can you hear us? He's on mute. Thomas, if you can hear us, you're on mute, mate.
And I'll also bring in. Oh, here we are. Great.
Hey, Thomas, can you hear us?
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, yes, we can now. How you going? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you hear us? Can you hear me now?
And I'll looks like Kyle Reed has unmuted, so I'll bring him in as well.
Okay. Hey, Kyle, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how's it going, my friend? How's that race?
Oh, that was fun, man. I love this. This track is really fun. I thought it was great, and people were racing really clean. It was really fun.
That's awesome. So give us a little countdown of the race from your perspective.
I mean, it was just action from start to finish. I did go for an undercut, so like I pitted pretty early and just tried to put some quick laps in, and then people. It's cool. I've never done that before, so people kind of filter back into you as they pit, and then I just tried to keep it going as quick as I could, and it was just fun. Just I don't know, racing side by side with everybody they could anyway.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. We were
Hey, Kyle, this is Peter Lee. It looked like JR Hoops was really pressuring you. Actually, you were kind of pressuring each other. How was that aspect of the race?
It was good. I mean, I kind of overcooked that last turn a little bit. I don't know if you guys saw that. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but I overcooked the last turn a little bit, and I definitely went wide. And fortunately, he made room for me. Otherwise, it would have been a collision if he didn't go out of his way to make room for me for sure. But I don't know. I mean, I was going pretty aggressive after it, and it worked out, which was nice. That neither of us got wrecked, fortunately. But it was fun.
Great,
it was close, man.
There was some very, very close racing up and down the group.
Yeah.
And, we were very impressed to see that nearly everybody finished on the lead lap, which was quite incredible.
Kind of surprising, right? And there weren't very many. I mean, yeah, there weren't a whole lot of wrecks. It was fun with JR too. Like it takes laps to get by somebody on this track. Like you can't just catch them and then expect to pass them quick. So it's just fun. Like how you really get into the chess match a little bit more on the tight tracks like this, especially where there's no fifth gear, so you can't really get much of a draft going.
Right.
I'm guessing you were probably also feeling a little bit of heat with Chris Herrera coming up. Also,
dude, it was a little terrifying. Yeah. It was definitely. I definitely saw that number getting smaller.
Yeah. His car always makes you think of Two-Face.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, I like his color scheme, obviously, right? Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Well, to the earlier point, it is amazing, just given how short and tight this track is, that so many cars finished on the lead lap, and people kept it incredibly clean. Honestly, I think all of us in the broadcast booth were expecting during the first couple of laps a lot more incidents, especially in the hairpins. And it's amazing how you guys all kept it together and kept it really clean.
I thought so too. I was impressed. I mean, I was ready to just start ducking and diving as soon as I saw the big smoke and crash in front of me, and it never happened.
And
There you go.
Kyle, I think you get the hard charger award for the race. You're showing on the scoring sheet up 20 places. So what's the story behind your starting position?
I don't know. I just like that style of driving for some reason.
Yeah.
For the story behind it, I don't know. I just find it really enjoyable.
For
I
the
don't know.
record, I keep chiming in. I apologize, but I am with you on that. I love. I know a lot of people catch crap for not qualifying or whatever, but I love starting in the back and just seeing how far up I can go. I get it. I'm with you.
To some extent, there's an advantage of starting in the back because you can let people do their shenanigans ahead of you and drive around the issues, especially on the first few laps. But then you do have your work cut out for you if they don't wreck.
Well, yeah, I think that's the good part. I mean, yeah, you'll always welcome free positions, but there's just something satisfying, to your point, or to your results here tonight, up 20 spots to P11. That's got to be. I mean, it depends on who you are, right? But that's got to be just as satisfying for people like us as a win. I mean, that's a super impressive stat right there.
I definitely get it, but Kyle, I think you were insane to do that in this race.
This particular one, yes.
It's so hard to pass on this track.
This particular one, you're probably a little crazy, but okay.
That's what I like about it, man. That's what makes it fun. It just gets like extra interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, if you say so. And so he said,
Let's get Chris and Ian. Let's take a note to get this guy some help.
Yeah. I don't know if we can afford to pay for that kind of help.
I don't know if it's as rewarding as getting a win, though. I mean, I wouldn't place it even close to that, though. I mean, getting a real win is a whole, like, several levels above what I do, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're definitely you have way better than top 10 pace, and so yeah, we'll be watching out for that. It should come.
Yeah, you'll be there. You'll be there soon. I'm fairly sure of it.
Well, thank you.
He would be there if he qualified.
There you go. There you go.
The definition of insanity.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, any shout outs you'd like to give?
Just a shout out to my strategist, Mike McLeod, and my buddies, Mike Zhepka, Ray Bartolowski, Andy Au.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, look, mate, have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you next weekend.
Yeah, congrats on the P11 finish. Super drive.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Take care,
Have
mate.
a good week.
Okay, and I'll bring in Thomas Photos now. Looks like he has his issues resolved on the technical side.
Hey, Thomas, can you hear us?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome.
So, how was it for you?
That was the most stressful race I think I've ever been in, really.
So, Thomas, we were all guessing that you were driving and qualifying in a state of anger for this SF1 race. Are we right?
Oh, no, I wasn't. Not angry at all. Jake, I think Jake just entered the pit a little hot there. I wasn't really angry.
Yeah, I mean, none of us thought you were angry at Jake, but just at the misfortune being caught up there.
Oh no, it was cool. I really was focusing on the SF1 race, and then when I qualified, Q5, which is like by far the highest I've ever qualified, I pretty much forgot about, any of the mishaps that happened earlier.
Well, so you qualified P5, which is super impressive in this field. And so maybe we should start there. What was your secret? That's just an incredibly strong qualifying result.
I honestly have no clue. I really don't understand it, and I don't expect to replicate it next track. I think this track is just apparently. I have honestly no clue. I just wanted to get on to give a shout out to Alan Paris for the paint job he did on my car.
Oh, everyone's loving your paint, and it's turning even non-Coloradans into into fans.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he did a great job.
You did a great job with the qualifying as well, and I mean sometimes these tracks just kind of work for you. Like I found Road Atlanta, which we just did. That just kind of worked for me. I was very comfortable on it most of the time. But did you find that with this track, it just everything just kind of hooked up at the same time?
I honestly, I wish I need to go back and like study it because I have no idea what I did differently than because I did terrible at Road Atlanta, absolutely terrible. So I think I did like 2 laps, and then I took Sammy Bridges out by accident. So I think that I really have no clue. So I'm going to do some studying.
Yeah, it's interesting. These different tracks sometimes suit different driving styles. And then in the race itself, you were holding down P5, and you were leading, I think, for about the first third of the race. The large group, there was the kind of lead pack of 4, and then the large group starting with you in P5. And you were maintaining the gap to P4, really for the entire time you were leading that pack. What was going through your mind there? Because you had to be thinking about defending your position, but also wanting to catch up a little bit. Was there any thought to trying to work together to try to catch that lead pack?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was leading that pack. I would say more I was like holding up that pack. I think that's probably the more apt word because I was just trying not to mess up because I think those guys behind me are way faster. So
well, they weren't.
And those like rearview mirrors. It's so difficult not to drive with those guys behind you in the mirror.
Scott passed you after I don't know 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 laps or whatever it was, and he really didn't disappear off into the distance. I mean, he slipped by you and just maintained the same gap that you were maintaining with that front pack. There was really no change.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when and unfortunately, I think I tapped Mike or there was net code. I don't know. It felt like it was close, but I definitely tapped him. So when he got in front of me, he was sitting down at a really fierce pace. So.
Well, good racing, mate. It was a lot of fun to watch, and we were watching you, and we were commenting on how Road Atlanta was the practice for this one, and that you were maintaining about a 3-second gap for every lap you were doing to the lead pack. So we thought you were doing an amazing job.
Yeah, fantastic drive. Really showed up well on track, and to Ian's earlier point, after you gave up P5. No one else who got into P5 closed the gap any closer than you were maintaining, and so you were really putting down some strong laps there.
Thanks. It's just like a really weird track. I feel where like you feel like you're continuously blocking, even though you're doing like the line that you feel you should be doing. I feel like I was continuously blocking the person behind me because some of the turns you feel like you're taking wide, but you're also taking very tight. I don't know. It's just
interesting.
Kind of weird.
Well, that sounds like a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for the broadcast. No, just Alan. Yeah, Alan did a great job in the paint. You guys did an awesome job.
I was going to say I'm here for the paint scheme.
It's the only reason you turned up, isn't it, Chris?
The SF2 race was great until the accident, but that was no big deal whatsoever.
Yeah, nicely done, sir. All right. Let's see if we can get hold of Ray Bartnowski. We haven't heard from him for a little bit. Hey, Ray.
Go ahead, Ian.
No, go ahead, mate.
Oh, no. Ray, welcome to the broadcast booth. This is Peter.
Evening, gentlemen.
So, P17, a great top 20 finish for you, up 8 spots from your qualifying position. That's a pretty hard charge. Tell us about the race from your perspective.
I was pushing for 15. I was not happy with how I qualified, and I knew I needed to make up a bunch of spots early. And the race was coming to me. It was going pretty good. The second stint, I had some guys to draft and made enough fuel to make it to the end. And just an unfortunate incident on the last lap dropped me back a couple spots. But yeah, I got to be happy with it. After qualifying 25th, getting up to 17th was pretty good.
Well, and in fact, you were driving so strong. It was really noticeable on track. And I think if you had another, maybe it looked to me like if you had another couple laps, you might have had a shot to get past Aaron and Jeff ahead of you. One thing that happened toward the end of the race also was the race got extended by 1 lap. Because the lead pack just managed to cross start finish line, so we ended up with 39 laps instead of 38. Were there any fuel concerns for you?
A little bit. At the start of the second stint, it looked like I was only going to have about half a lap of fuel at the end, so it was important for me to get behind Andy Au and later Kyle Reed in draft, and I ended up making a lap worth of fuel that way. So when it extended, I was right on target.
Yeah. We were talking to Carter Stickney a little bit earlier, who won the SF2 race tonight, and the subject of our participation in the Formula V races came up. How are you feeling about that? Do you think that that's helping you with Skippy? It seems like your Skippy driving is just getting stronger and stronger every week.
Just a little bit. Between both Formula V and USF, they both respond really well to trail braking, and that wasn't something that I was really good at before. And they kind of made me had to get better at it, and I think that's showing up in my pace now.
Yeah, interesting.
And I reckon that if you'd added another couple of stripes to the car, you'd probably got an extra position or two.
And stripes make it go faster, right?
It sure does. And I mean, you have a good few of them, and it looks awesome.
Thanks. I had this is based off of a Turkish Air Force plane from 2016. I showed it to Chris Morrill, and he said, "Man, it'd be great to see a car mocked up like that." And I got to thinking, yeah, it would.
This is Chris's fault. I knew he would have his oar in there somewhere.
Ray delivered, man. This is it's ridiculously good looking. I mean, the execution there. I think he posted you posted a side-by-side pictures, right, of the F16 and the Skippy.
Yeah, there are pictures in the Paint Schemes channel on Discord.
Yeah. If you guys are on the Discord there, go check it out, because I mean, the car itself, not knowing that this is a Turkish Air Force F16 paint scheme, it still looks good. But when you compare it to what the inspiration was, it just brings it to the next level. Just very well done.
Yeah, it looks awesome, man. It really does.
Well, Ray, if you watch the broadcast later, you'll hear that I gave you a shout out during the race for your painting skills, and I'm forever grateful that you painted my Formula V car, and now I'm trying to find a way to hit you up to paint my new GT3 car.
There you go.
Nudge.
The only thing I'll say, Ray, is your helmet does not match the car.
No, I've been carrying those stripes on all my cars since I joined the league. I didn't really have a good place to put it on this one, but I think I'm going to keep it on the helmet.
There you go.
Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. Any shout outs to anybody before you go?
Everybody that raced me close today did it cleanly. So Andy Au, Kyle Reed, JR Hoops towards the end, Jeff Torbeck early. Thanks, guys, for keeping it clean.
Cool, man. Excellent job.
Yeah, awesome, man. Seriously, on a track like this and in a field like this, any top 20 finish is a serious accomplishment. So congrats.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
All right. Take care, mate. Well, that's all I can say.
Yeah. It was a good race. I'm now trying to.
Of course, now that we've said that, right, we're probably going to talk for another hour and a half.
Yeah, I know. There's always the capability to do that. I think that. Oh boy. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna be able to find it. So the finishes here were fantastic. I want to see if I can't get. I want to give Pim. He did these camera packs, and they are just absolutely, just so good. And I don't know. There we go. Oh,
Kim is seriously putting NBC Sports to shame.
yeah. Yeah, so here's the problem. It's not Pim's cameras. It's my ability to use them effectively. It's like suddenly I have all of these resources available to me, and I'm a little overwhelmed, to be honest with you. I need to be able to like sit down and just kind of absorb all the stuff that he's given us. I think that if you see the other Cavoke Racing broadcast, you'll see the animations and just the work that he's put into with the just everything, the overlays, all that. And we're trying to bring that back to SF2 and SF1 as well. But he's just made, I feel like I kind of took the broadcast and, oh man, yeah, there we go. There's the finish line. We can see everybody coming across the line there. Very, very close. 0.1 seconds was the margin of victory there for Carl Dronke, and it showed. I took it as far as I could and just kind of ran out of time and energy and all that. And Pim, Peter, Ian, like just starting to take it to the next level here, which is it's just great. It's energizing me a little bit too, to be honest with you. So I really appreciate all the things that you guys are doing. Especially Pim. I know he's putting a lot of time and effort into it, and it's showing. And I feel like I owe it to him, if not everybody else, to really start to, do something with the work that he's putting into it. So, I think we're just going to keep getting better and better from here.
Right. Well, I'm going to have to get him to send me these packs so that I can do the Formula V race next week, which unfortunately I was not able to do this week. I was unfortunately stuck in the middle of a spreadsheet at the time.
Yeah,
so these things happen.
That'll happen. Well,
all right,
gents. Actually, you know what? I want to.
Here we go. Here we go.
Here we go. One more, because there is a finish here. I believe that is 0.01 seconds, and that's Jonathan Dockery and Dan Pagowski.
Put it on really slow-mo, though, because you can't have them like just go flopping across the finish line. There.
I don't. Of all of these cameras, I can't figure out which one is the best. Where's the drone cam? I think maybe the drone cam. Yeah, there we go. All right, so while we finish up, we will watch Dan Pagowski, Jonathan Dockery, and you can see Mike Bowers there already off in the grass from that incident. I'm sure that he's super happy about that, but you can see this is the straight into the final right-hand turn to the start-finish line, and we'll just follow Dan Pagowski here to the start-finish line. I do believe that this is a 0.01 second finish here between these two guys for P23 for 23rd position. Just a testament to the level of skill that's involved with this series. But anyway, final thoughts from you guys as we head to Red Bull Ring. Yeah, is that I saw it's got wings in the track description.
Yeah, there you go. It gives you wings, right?
There you go.
We shall see. It should be a fun track.
One of the cool things about the Skippy season is, we're on these tight technical tracks like this, and then we're on serious Formula One, FIA, Grade 1 tracks, like Red Bull Ring, and it's something I really love about the Skippy season. And I've never, we did, Chris, that one Saturday afternoon, Formula One
the
event.
happy hour.
Yeah, and boy, the track was just so much fun, and so
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to doing it in the Skippy.
A wee bit
curious to
slower in the Skippy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm curious to see what it's like in the Skippy, but for those of you who don't know, we do I guess what I've just called the happy hour. I'm sure we'll come up with a better term for it eventually, but you know, it worked out pretty well, and I don't think it was intentional. Certainly not from my perspective. But the current F1 or IndyCar series in real life, that Saturday we try to go and just have fun hour-long practice. You know, talk about the race. Damage is off. We do a quick sprint race at the end, 20 minutes long, 15 minutes, somewhere in that range. And we've had pretty good turnout so far, but you know, it's a lot of fun. The Red Bull Ring was 2 weeks in a row, and so we got the full exposure. I actually felt like pretty comfortable in the Dallara IR01 at Red Bull Ring, which is weird. I was maybe comfortable, maybe the wrong word, but you know what I mean. Like we got actually a good sense of
You can actually complete a lap without.
Right, exactly.
And it's going to be a very, very different racing to the racing.
But it was just
right?
What a great, I mean, just a beautiful track. I'm relatively new to the F1 scene. I get it, but I was super impressed with the track. I think iRacing did a great job with it, and it was just a ton of fun. Granted, like you guys are pointing out, you know, super drafty. It's gonna feel like Talladega, I think, in the Skippy to some extent.
Talladega with more right.
It's going to be a relief because, you know, we've had these two super tight tracks. And actually, you know, the first half of this season, the season 7 here, has been a lot of super tight tracks, you know, like Summit Point, of course, Royal Atlanta Short last week, Tsukuba this week. I think it's going to be a relief to get on a full-sized, you know, F1 grade or IndyCar grade track. And I, for one, you know, just I need that at this point. So I think it'll be great.
Well, so real quick, we've got some comments here. So Tyler brings up the new off track model there is good. Yeah, their Spa and Red Bull Ring with the iRacing's. You know, I guess it's not called experimental, but it's the new off track system. I tell you what, they need to implement that ASAP everywhere. So good. Probably needs improvement still.
About it a little bit for those who don't know.
Oh, you know, so they're able to make it a little more granular with the off tracks in relation to the wheels. So I don't know exactly how the algorithm worked before, but it literally is now, if I'm understanding it correctly, it's looking at your wheels, so it's a little more realistic, you know, to the off track situation instead of the midpoint of your car, I believe, is what it used to look at. Which was kind of an estimation. But now it's able to it's a little more granular in the detail. And so you're not going to get off tracks at places where you maybe shouldn't have. And it allows you to push it a little bit more. And it's a little more enjoyable. But yes, so Red Bull Ring Spa have it right now. So yes, Tyler, great observation. That's going to make it super interesting. It's our first race at one of those tracks that has the new off-track modeling. Tim brought up who won the race at Red Bull Ring. I don't remember. So yeah, we'll see. I'll have to look back at that, Pim. I'm not sure.
The guy named Lewis, was it?
Charlie McCarty. Charlie McCarty, yeah, really cool in VR. Yeah, 100%. Like I was just like looking around at the hills of Austria, like, man, this is gorgeous. Yeah, we know, Pim, it was you. We know. Oh man, yeah, Pim did a really good job, man. He kept it on the track better than the rest of us for sure. So
just to throw a bone toward Pim's way. It's only been Dutch people that have won at Red Bull Ring, either in real life
Right.
Formula
Since
One.
it was introduced. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
Let's
go.
see 3 races there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max and Pim.
Uh,
The Dutch invasion there.
Pretty much
Nice.
interchangeable, those two drivers.
Listen, if you want to listen, there is a Bayesian driver who is currently racing in the Formula European Championships. His name is Zane Maloney. I saw him first race when he was 4 years old, racing karts in Bushy Park in Barbados. And I want to see, you look him up. He's a good little racer. I think he just did P2 at Spa in his race. He won the British Championship 2 years ago in his rookie season. So keep an eye on him. I want to see him in Formula One soon.
Wow, awesome.
Well, gents.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pim is just pointing out that they're not only Dutch, but Pim and Max have the same car number.
Oh, gotcha.
I
Okay.
think Max is just copying Pim. All right. So, everybody,
Yeah.
time to go.
Yeah. Final thoughts. Go for it.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Succinct. I like it.
Yep. I have to say, I thought that I shouldn't drive today, but after watching all that, I have some regrets, and so I'll
Same.
definitely do it next week.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yep.
I can agree with that. But
Well, it
I
should
just
be-
didn't get enough practice in, so.
Yeah. I love the Red Bull Ring.
All right, so we'll have to do some
I'm
practicing.
considering.
Mm.
We'll see. I don't know.
You
We'll
can.
talk about it.
Oh, wait. No.
We'll chat. We'll chat.
No, wait. You're considering racing next weekend?
I didn't say that.
I
just said
heard
I'm
that.
considering.
Peter,
We'll
did
see.
you not hear that?
I think Chris just laid down the challenge to the whole SF1 field, and so it looks like he'll have to be on the.
I don't want to
on the track.
embarrass all of y'all, though. It's just...
Question's going to be then, who's going to broadcast if we're all racing?
That is the very good question. Yeah. No. We'll see. I think either way.
Tell you what we could do. We can, and here's a challenge for us. Okay, what we can do is we can all Twitch stream our own views of the race from our cars, right?
Mm.
And then we will get together and we will do a video podcast of talking about the race after the race.
Oh,
pull the
sorry.
video
Hold
together.
on. Him throwing shade.
Maybe he's what?
Better than broadcasting. He's saying that maybe I'm a better racer than a broadcaster. Oh man. All right.
Let's talk contract at Chris. What the hell? What is going on?
Chris, you're Pim's boss in the cavalcade.
Yeah,
Oh, so Pim's looking to get paid. Is that what-
Insubordination.
Honestly, what is with these Dutch people and their money?
They're just very straightforward. I get it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Well, it's because they live underwater.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
They do. You don't want to be messing around with those pumps.
He's been hanging out with the oval guys too much over at Bonfire, so yeah, he's
Oval attitude.
I love it.
Oh my god! Listen, I just said, see you next week because I knew this is what was going to happen as soon as we start getting into this stuff.
Yeah. All right, Peter. Final thoughts.
Red Bull Ring is the final thought. Looking forward to it.
Nice. Me too.
Yeah.
We need to go. It's getting way too. I'm signing up for way too much. My ego is writing checks my body can't cash, so we gotta go to bed. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining on the broadcast, carrying it once again on your broad shoulders. We will see you guys next week from Austria, and I'm looking forward to whatever that looks like. Either way, I guess take care of each other. Be nice, and we will see you guys in 7 days.
Good night, all.